What's up, people? Welcome back to the Over in 80 Minutes podcast. This week, I've got another cracking guest lined up, another personal pal that I know from BlOKes. I can't wait for it. Today, we're talking to Premiership winner with the Exeter Chiefs, Cornish Pirates coach, the He-More Flyer, the proud owner of MSJ Coaching, BlOKes representative, like I said, one of the top, most infectiously happy and positive people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I can't wait for him to share his happiness with everybody else. I'm really looking forward to this. Matthew Jess, Jessy, how are you, sir? How are you?
I am very well. And first, can I just say thank you very much for having me on this podcast. I have taken a little listen to a few of your podcasts. And I must say you're doing an astounding job. So well done, you.
Oh, mate, I can't. I cringe when I look back at it now, the way to the first ones and how much more confident it was. I was telling you before we came on air, the one with Callum, I was half glad that it had to all get changed, because when I look back and listen to the first episode that we did, I sound like a little kid just cry, like, you know, when a little kid has to do a school presentation, he's like, today I'm talking about how I went to my summer holiday on the beach, and it's like, you know, when like you watch like an X Factor audition and they can't wait for it to be over.
Like that, like really like nervous voice, really that kind of like shaking.
It's like, as you imagine like a player initiations is when they've like been in there today and they're like, today I'm going to be singing Wonderwall and I'm going to do one chorus and then I'm going to run away.
Oh, absolutely. Like old school stuff where it's like, you knew you had to like stand on the pool table like half naked and down and neck a pint or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've all been there.
Oh, it's good, but it's a nice thing for me to look back on. I can see it's like self-analysis after a game, and you look back and go, I can do that better, I can do this. Oh, the problem is the problem is I've got a couple of hundred people also doing the same whenever they watch and listen to the podcast. So
no, self-review, always self-review. You can and the best thing about it is you can always get better, isn't it? And I think you can take that to anything, work, life, personal life, whatever. Like review yourself, you can only get better. Awesome.
Exactly. And plus, when you've got friends like mine, they'll be brutally honest with you if they go, that was a bit shit. I know they're not lying just to mess with me.
You know they're not lying when you'll know them when they're not lying when you feed them a couple of beers and the truth starts to really come out. And you're like, okay. You said it was brilliant the other day. No.
Exactly that. You said it was good when I asked you about that. Yeah, we lied. We just didn't want you to feel bad. Right, nice. Jessy, we're going to get started in the usual fashion. We're going to do the quick fire questions. Hopefully get some talking points. It means your mates, when they listen back to this, can go, you're an absolute psychopath for your opinion on that. But it'll be fun. So first answer that comes into your head, just blur it out, and then if it's questionable, I'll give you a funny look, and then the podcast listeners will be checking to see what they think the funny answer is or not.
Sounds good.
Easy ones. Yeah, quick fire questions with Matthew Jess. Helps me break it off the YouTube channel. Right, tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Night out or a night in?
Night out.
Nice. Score a try or make a try saving tackle. As a winger, I probably know your answer, but
do you know what? I'm going to go try saving tackle.
Better for the highlight reel as well. Big hits always look better on a highlight reel.
Absolutely, especially ones in the corner when you corner flag them and you get them out in the touch. Unbelievable. Yeah, great feeling.
Empty them into the first row of the stand. That's what you want.
Absolutely.
Especially when they're an Islander. It always looks more impressive when you tackle an Islander.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they're the ones who save for your highlights reel. Oh, look who I tackled. Look how big he was compared to me.
Yeah, you screenshot halfway through and make it your profile picture for like a year or 2 years.
Would be a year for the rest of your career.
Mate, if I had it, I'd still have it now. Even if I did it like under 15s, I'd still have it now.
Now that would just be embarrassing. Yeah. Now this is me when I was under 50. No, you can't do
that. What's your claim to it? Well, right, sweets. Yeah, sweets or chocolate?
Oh, chocolate.
Nice. If you had to get rid of one tomorrow, would you get rid of rugby or dogs?
Oh, I'd get rid of rugby. Career's done. Really easy. True. Career's done. So rugby's gone. I'll take the dogs.
Exactly. Dogs are there to cuddle you and make sure it's all right after you've been absolutely battered for 80 minutes. Rugby doesn't do that for you.
Yeah,
right, TV series. Yeah, a TV series or a movie.
Oh, good. That's a good one. That is a good one. I'm gonna go recently TV series. Matthew Jess of old would have been movies, but I'm gonna go TV series.
Right, there's just so much more, especially with the rise of like Netflix and Prime. There's just so much more to do with TV series.
Yeah, agree. And do you know what? Instead of the continual, like when you watched a movie and you want to try and watch another movie and you flick it through Netflix, you can't find the movie. If you get stuck into a TV series, you get excited about that next episode. That's what I like.
Exactly. Yeah, the 3 a.m. when you know you've got work at 9 and you're like, I really should go to bed. But
like that.
Yeah. Just dragging yourself into work the next morning.
Yeah.
Right. 7s or 15s?
15's easy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. If you had to choose one to relax with, if you're just not trying to get clean, but you're just trying to relax, bath or a shower?
Shower. Love a shower.
Oh mate, I'm a bath guy. You see, like like not in the mornings, but like you see if you just like, I'm getting rid of the world, and you deliberately know you can leave your phone in another room, just have a bath, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
I could, to be fair, I can see you. Candles, roll top bath, brass. Mate, I could see brass taps. I could definitely see brass taps. There we go.
Candles on tap. Mate, best birthday present I ever got. Sea salt and sandalwood candle. Amazing.
Nice. Feel the ambience.
Mate, it's the marine biologist in me. I have to feel like I'm at the beach at all times.
Yeah,
so just get sea salt, everything going. I've lost my place. How would you get a steak cooked?
Medium rare.
Nice. Would you go to a club or a pub for a night out?
Pub.
Yeah, exactly. Live music in the pub?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you just wouldn't even bother going anywhere else, would you? You just stay there. Prop the bar up.
Not unless Tom Lindsay's got something involved. Then you find yourself in Flight Club, but we'll discuss that later.
And that's when I get to first meet you, isn't it?
Mate, we're going to talk about that later, but I'm still so embarrassed.
No,
I'm so embarrassed about that. Arms day or legs day?
Oh, it's got to be arms day. I know Cal said legs day, but I'm all arms.
You'll be the favourite coach then when you're not telling the boys that they have to go do squats on a Monday morning.
Absolutely.
If you had to get somebody's attention, are you more likely to FaceTime them or text them?
Text them.
Nice. I'm a FaceTimer. I just get it sorted.
Are you? Nice.
Yeah, mate. If I need to get something sorted, I just FaceTime them. It's weird. It's weird doing this because I've just DM people to get them to come on the podcast, so I'm not used to just sending small texts. So I'm like, I just want to phone them. But
a quick FaceTime. Can you do my podcast? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Look them dead in the eye and just you have to reject me to my face.
The pressure of the FaceTime.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have said this. Now every time somebody gets a FaceTime notification from me, they're just not going to answer.
Me included.
Right. Exactly. Never answering the phone to Sam again.
Exactly.
Mate, would you Bourbons or custard creams?
Oh, good one. I'm gonna go Bourbons.
You're the first person to say Bourbons, and that is exactly the answer I wanted. Because
really?
I'm a Bourbons guy. Like Bourbons in a cup. The thing with Bourbons over custard creams is you can dunk them in tea and coffee, and they both taste good.
Yeah, completely
custard
agree.
Creams are only good in tea.
And agree, and I think Bourbons as well. If you look at them, they're a little bit bigger.
Yes, exactly. Getting more bang for your buck, and that's why we're all efficient here. Would you rather be a ninja or a pirate?
Oh, I've been a pirate. I'll be a ninja.
Did you see it? I felt so bad for Cal. I was like, really, because obviously I knew the podcast isn't audio, and he was like, "Oh, I'd be a ninja." I was like, Cal, whatever you do, just change your answer right now. And he was just like, "Oh, I didn't even get it." And I was like, "Cal, go on, just say pirate." So I didn't even mean to put it in as that kind of question. It was generally just, when you're looking up silly questions to put in on the internet. Yeah. And it was like ninja or pirate. I was like, that's a great question. And then I thought, that actually works in 2 ways.
That's really good. Really good.
Right. Would you prefer sweet or salted popcorn?
Sweet.
Yeah, correct. And finally, socks and sliders, acceptable or not acceptable?
Right. Okay. So I think acceptable now, but would I see myself in socks and sliders? No way. I'm all about the sandals, getting my feet aired. I mean, what's the point in wearing? This is my thing. What's the point in wearing sliders when you've got your feet covered up? I don't know. Maybe it's comfy. Maybe I should try it. It's probably one of these things. I'm probably going to go out tomorrow, buy a pair of sliders, or order them off the off Amazon. There are plenty of other things that you can do on the internet and order from the internet. But well played.
Don't worry, my sponsor's not taken up by Amazon yet. We're all right.
Excellent.
The day Amazon sponsors me, I'll come back and I'll edit that podcast. I just use it.
There we go. But yeah, I'm more of a sandal man. But I think that's my age.
See, I'm the same as you. If you're getting sandals or sliders on, get your feet out. but I can understand it post training, because when when you take the boots off and the first thing, like, you finish a game, first thing you want to do is take your boots off.
Oh, absolutely, get them off. Yeah, completely.
I was like, well, that's us finished the quickfire question, so you survived that bit.
Excellent.
But there you go. So yeah, I've got to talk about, like, so we'll go straight into the Manchester game, the big BlOKes charity game.
Oh,
and speaking of that, did you have a horrible set of blisters after wearing those Adidas socks as well, because they were like 7 sizes too big for your feet?
Yeah, and like, to be fair, because sometimes I'd usually wear like the grippy type socks, which kind of grip to that.
Yeah.
And obviously, I didn't have the scissors or anything to cut them off. So to be fair, I did have a couple of blisters. Yeah, not like huge, like where those blisters which kind of just crop up on you. So you take a look at your foot and go, "What is that?" But yeah, and then I was like, to be fair, I mean, I did obviously play that rugby. I played rugby the day before, so my feet were in bits and my legs were in bits for a couple of days after. But yeah, I did get some blisters. How are your feet? How do they hang up?
Mate, it was the ball of my foot. It just got so much blisters from the socks being so big. Yeah. So obviously, as it was the crash course last second, I think I was wearing a medium top. I was wearing XL shorts, and I think I was wearing 3XL socks. Because I was too busy chatting to the boys, like trying to get to know people, because I hadn't met anybody. And then I looked around and I was like, "Oh, is that all the kit on the floor?" And it was like, "I'll take that one. I'll take that one." I took one for the team.
You like the poster man for every type of footballer going, like every size. Yeah, look at Sam Matthews. He's modelling every size going.
Exactly. I'm just a commercial team's dream. Just to see how everything fits.
Brilliant.
Right. Let's talk about the BlOKes weekend, because I want to talk about your weekend for that, because you did double duty on that day. So talk me through your weekend. Yeah.
So, well, it started off, obviously. What time did I leave? I must have been about something silly o'clock, like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I left from Tenby in Wales, and drove to Petersfield, which is about 4 hour 45 trip to St. Petersfield Rugby Club, and I did a coaching camp for 3 hours for Rugby Against Cancer. So it's Rugby Against Cancer against the Fiji and or Pacific Islanders rugby team. So they have all ex sort of like internationals playing. Obviously, with so I played on the Rugby Against Cancer team, and they had some ex players for them. They had Dylan Armitage, myself, and then obviously this core group which kind of meet up all the time. There's like lads from like Bournemouth who I knew of and played in the leagues and stuff. So we all met up and then obviously got ready for the game. Great atmosphere, raised loads of money for an amazing charity. And you know what? That was my first outing for Rugby Against Cancer, and it was it certainly won't be my last. I'll tell you that now. But we had a great time. The game was fast. It was frenetic. The physicality on some of those, we talk about the Islanders anyway, but like the physicality in that game was unreal. I mean, as soon as one big hit went in, it was like 3 followed in afterwards. And I was trying to tell our forwards, look, at the moment we're kind of stepping back into them, and we're lining ourselves up. I was like, if you're going to step, I was like step and stay square, because you're going to ride the hit a little bit more. There must have been about 3 massive hits, and they were like, I wouldn't say they were. They were like close to red card type, but they were like up here, your proper sort of
They were rugby league hits. Yeah.
Oh my word. It was ridiculous. And I was like, I'm glad I'm out here and not in there at the minute, because I was stood out in the wing. Yeah. So, we had a great time. Obviously, we took the win, which was great. And then I managed to stay for a fairly short, swift beer afterwards. Met up with a couple of mental health charity type people that obviously know our good friend Tom, and had some really good connections with Tom. And I was telling that obviously I've come up to represent the BlOKes with the football. So yeah, I've watched a little bit of the Lions game, jumped in the car, radio's on, another 4.5 hour trip to Manchester, where I got to see your lovely face lying down on a bed.
Oh mate, I can't. I was so nervous about that day, because I was like, for context for people that are listening, the first time I met Matt Jess, I don't remember meeting Matt Jess. I've had the pleasure of speaking to him on the phone at least 3 or 4 times, and he's the most. His happiness is the most infectious thing you'll ever have. He literally could I tell this story when I was telling the story to Tom Lindsay on that night. Actually, it was when you were asking me stuff about your Instagram page for your coaching.
Yeah.
and you were so inspiring in that, and it was like 10:30 at night when I finished, and I was like, I put the phone down and talked to you, and I was like, I feel like I need to go and run a 5K because I've got so much like energy in me, and I was like, I'm going to go do it. I'm just going to go run a 5K.
There we go.
But yeah. So on the Saturday, the first time I met Matt Jess, I'm still convinced I didn't meet him, but apparently I have. So
look, you did meet me. So I met your pants. I met your boxer shorts, black that night. Yeah.
I will tell you the story about that because my mates still laughed at it. So what happened was, we got out. We ended up in this really, really old man locals pub in the heart of Manchester. Like, you know, when you open the doors and if you're not a recognised face, everybody stares at you the whole way to the bar and back. How
uncomfortable do you feel?
I was fine because I knew nobody anyway. So I was like, there's just 20 more people in a room that I don't know, which is fine because I was.
And you're Scottish, so everyone's going to be a bit like, don't mess with him. Because if I hear Scottish accent, I'm like, I can't mess with him.
Well, yeah, you might say that, but then you turn around and see that I'm 5'8", and you think I probably fancy my chances with him, so he's fine.
I'll back myself.
So while you were driving up from your second home for the night after your massive rugby match, me, Tom Lindsay, Tom Holmes' fiance, and Tom Lindsay's wife all went out for beers to watch the Lions game. So while you were in the car, we were all watching it, drinking beers and drinking gins. Because obviously I was like, I've got a game tomorrow, so pints are volume. So if I drink the gins, it'll be all right because it's less volume.
Absolutely.
Which didn't. It was good in practice, good in theory, awful in practice. So we were there. We ended up getting disgusting because Tom Lindsay knew he wasn't coming out the next night, and he knew he was playing in goals. So Tom Lindsay was like, "We can have a few beers, we can have a few gins." But then what Tom Lindsay did, because he's an evil, conniving bastard, was he stopped drinking. And he didn't tell anybody else to stop drinking. Because I didn't clock it till we were in Fight Club, and I was like, "Why have you got a pint of gin and tonic?" He's like, "It's soda and lime." I was like, "What?" So he'd stopped drinking.
Yeah.
So he stopped drinking, and me and Tom Home hadn't stopped drinking. So we were then absolutely reckless in Fight Club. And apparently, so I was on the mentality of, because Tom Lindsay and Tom Home had met each other. Like, so they'd had their introductions, and I'd never met anybody, because obviously I'm up here and you guys are all sort of down south, Midlands, and then further down.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know anybody I'm meeting in the next 24 hours. So I was like, you can either try firm it and not be your awkward self, or you can have a few pints and let the conversation flow. I'll let the pints flow and have a conversation.
Absolutely. Why not?
So then I was, yeah. So credit to Tom Home, his fiance, Tom Lindsay, because they're all lovely. They're some of the nicest people I've ever had a pint with. But I was so legless and I couldn't see by the time I got to Flight Club. Apparently I was walking around Flight Club, and then you know the classic, you've got something on your shirt and doing that. Apparently there was this like 7-foot bouncer. Apparently I just did it to him, and I just looked at him, and Tom Lindsay was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ."
Oh no, we got to get out of here. What's plan B?
Well, that's what it was. And then Tom Lindsay took everybody home because, as we said, he stopped drinking because he's a sneaky git and just wanted to fit all the boys out. So then he did that, and then we got Tom home back to the hotel, and he was just as bad as everybody else. Because everybody remembers from that night, everybody sees the photo of me because I chose the hallway to be a more comfortable option than my bed.
A nice hard flat floor, excellent.
Yeah, well, that's it. But what you didn't realise was while that photo was taken, Tom Holm was currently covering himself in barbecue sauce because he was rolling about in it because he hadn't realised he'd fallen in it.
And we didn't get to see that. Not even on
exactly. So nobody got to see that. Didn't make the paparazzi pictures.
So on my drive back, I mean, you boys had obviously said, can't wait to meet you for a beer and first round's on me and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely brilliant.
I still would have done that. I wouldn't remember buying it, but
no, absolutely not. And then I was thinking to myself, well, that's great. I'm going to get a couple of beers bought for me tonight, and mix it in with the lads. Got to Manchester, couldn't find the car park for the Ibis. I think it was the Ibis when it was stopping at. Couldn't find the car park. Anyway, I phoned Tom home. He then phoned me back. I could hear your voice in the background going, "God, can't wait to meet you, Jessy," and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, excellent, can't wait for this. And I put the phone down going, they are absolutely steaming. I was like, this is going to be amazing. Got into the car park, got into the hotel, started to check in. Tom home is fairly sort of just about standing up, stumbling around. Jessy, great to see you, and all that sort of stuff. Tom Lindsay's obviously stopped drinking, so he's fairly sober. Obviously, I didn't realise this. Jumped in the lift, got to my room, chucked in the bags. Right, I'm going down for a pint. So I went down, bought a pint, and then it was like, "Oh, come to room," I can't, whatever room number was. Anyway, the next minute, I'm like, "Where's Sam?" And they were like, "Oh, you can come and meet Sam." So I met Sam in his pants. So basically, I met Sam on the bed. This kind of wasn't even, you weren't looking at me. You knew I was stood in the doorway for some unbeknown reason. I don't know how you're doing it with your, but apparently you do that with food as well. Because the story goes that you have.
Tom Boy for sausage roll, yeah.
That's it. And apparently Tom Lindsay was like, I can't believe like Sam just knows by the little rustle. Because apparently you were just laid flat on the bed. You heard a rustle in your bag and you were like, I think the words were, if somebody's eating my food, I'm going to kill you. That's amazing.
That was me preparing for hungover Sam, because I was on the train and I had like the 4-hour train journey, and I was like, I'm not going to eat all this food now, but I know that I'm going to need food if we go for a night out to eat.
Yeah.
And I was just preparing myself for that, and then I just, because I didn't know nobody had eaten it till the next day. But then, like you said, you and Tom Lindsay were like, do you remember telling Tom off for eating your sausage roll? I was like, that's where that went. I had no idea it was where it had been.
And then do you remember the sausage roll gate when because I said, did you have sausage roll last night? You're like, yeah. And then I was like, because when I went down to go and get that pint, I think it was a pint, and I brought it back up, and there was a sausage roll in the lift, and I was like, what the hell is a half-eaten sausage roll doing in the lift? And I think it was sausage roll gate. Whoever did it, I don't know, but it's sausage roll gate.
I think it's Tom Home.
But yeah, I quite enjoyed standing in the doorway, kind of saying hello to you, and then within, to be fair, Tom's like, I'm going to call him Mum from now on, because he literally, he whipped your jeans off within like, well, not even a second. I'd like to say as quick as a Formula One strip a car's tires off in a F1 race.
He has no idea how appreciative I am for that, because I got such a good night's sleep because he did that. But it was the only memory I had of me leaving that bar was a roughly hazy memory of Tom Lindsay taking my pants off, and I was like, so I messaged, because I put the message in the group chat. I was like, guys, if I had a relationship with Tom Lindsay last night, that's fine, but I'm really upset that he's not staying for a cuddle because he's not in the bed anymore.
There you go. One of those.
Oh no, I thought it'd be sleepover. I thought it'd be sleepover club, just like Boys on Tour, but apparently it wasn't.
Oh my word! But it was brilliant. It was obviously because I think it was the next morning, wasn't it? I was like, you're right, and I was like, yeah, I met you last night. Did you? Yeah. Okay. This is all good.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I think it's brilliant. You're steaming. Brilliant.
Can I just
say though, that's something that had to be done. Like when you go to Manchester and you're doing you're representing BlOKes and you're meeting, the guys that essentially you've been speaking to for well over a year, isn't it, via social media. You've not really met them face to face and stuff, but you get a grasp of like what the what the sort of personalities are like, and you've just got to go and enjoy those moments, especially when things start lifting and whatever. Just go out and enjoy them. I think it's brilliant. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I said, because I remember like when my missus was there, and obviously we're texting away in the group chat, like we're in the BlOKes FC chat, and she's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I was like, "Put it this way, it's going to be really awkward if somebody doesn't just put just no rules. You need somebody to just be that person that just goes, nothing is off limits, say whatever you want, and just breaks the barriers down." So I was like, I'm not afraid to make an arse of myself to make everybody feel more comfortable.
There you
go.
So
I was like, right, well, I will be the person who makes an arse of myself.
Yeah, make yourself vulnerable, and then everybody else just goes, "Oh, I'm okay here," that kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, put it this way, it ended up with Josh Breen and Chapo in the Manchester United Rainbow Bars until 2 a.m. on the Sunday. So
is that on the Sunday? And you were there because obviously I think I saw a couple of your messages on the group and stuff, and I think because obviously they didn't drink the night before, did they, or did they not?
No, they all arrived Sunday morning.
Yeah, that's it. So obviously that Sunday was their big night, but obviously you were day two. You were like, I'm in the swing of this now.
Mate, I took days off work for that. That was a week off for me.
Yeah, brilliant, man. Good work.
Exactly. Well done. 8 hours of public transport. You definitely believe I was having a pint. In fairness, I was well behaved this Sunday. I stopped drinking because I knew I had a train, and I was like, "There's going to be nothing worse than a 5-hour packed train."
Yeah, that would be horrific, wouldn't it? Just the heat and pure gin and tonic sweating out of your brow.
Mate, trust me. Talking about that, the Sunday, I've never felt so guilty in my life as arriving to that game on the Sunday and seeing that many people.
Yeah,
because I didn't think we saw that, because I was talking to Tom and he was like, "Oh, we're struggling for tickets," but apparently we sold so many on the day, and like Brilliant. 2 days prior we got tons. And I was saying to Tom, I was like, I feel so guilty sitting in this changing room because I'm so rough, and all these people have paid to watch a football game. And I was going like.
And to be fair, like I must say, we put in an all right performance, didn't we? Like we did all right. I personally feel we did all right because like what did we get up? Were we 3-2 up at one stage or 4-3?
At one point we were winning 3-2. At one point we were winning 3-2.
That's it, 3-2.
Yeah.
And I blame it, and I still to this day I blame it on that stoppage. We stopped just for people out there who 3-2 up, thinking right, and we haven't had the momentum with us. Yeah. And the referee called, fair enough though, because maybe some of us were struggling. Sam Matthews. We've called a drinks break, haven't we? So we've called the drinks break. We had a bit of a chat, like what's our next sort of thing, and it's one of those where everyone talks a good game. But when you go back out there, you don't apply anything to what you said. Within 15 seconds or 20 seconds, they scored.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, great chat, lads. Yeah, this is brilliant.
Right, lads, just ignore the last 20 seconds and we'll just do exactly what we were doing before, because that was clearly working.
Yeah. So what we just said, let's do the opposite. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, excellent. Exactly. Yeah, we just did that. But no, I feel like I don't think we sold ourselves short. I think as a group we certainly put a bit of a stint in, put an effort in, and just to let everybody know that the other team, Connor's team, had some pretty decent rugby players. Some of them look like rugby players.
I was going to
say, had some pretty decent football players there. So
I was convinced it was a proper football team at one point because the way they were all talking to each other, I was like, surely you guys have done this before.
Well, some of their movements, I was like, this is ridiculous. And do you know what? Like, I can't believe. Like, okay, yeah, I gave us a little bit of a stretch off and whatever. But apart from that, all we're doing is pot shots at Tom Lindsay.
Yeah, that's Tom Lindsay. Yeah. My warm up was getting the balls out the swamp because literally nobody was going to get them, and I was like, well, I know for a fact that we're responsible for these. So if we lose them, we're the ones that get in trouble. So I was like, I will get the ball.
Yeah.
But I was laughing with Tom Lindsay in the car. I was like, because I was saying it, I was like, between me, you, Tom, a few of the other boys that I knew were carrying injuries, I was like, there's going to be so much static stretching in this warm-up that you've ever seen. Just tons of boys just nursing hammies and calves for like 20 minutes. The first thing Tom Lindsay did when he got out there was start stretching up his lower back. I was like, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you probably need to do in diving around like an absolute... Well, can I just say, that man's like a cat.
I know.
He's definitely one of my... he kind of, says, puts his hand up and goes, oh, yeah, well, whatever. I'm like, no, mate, you're definitely MOM for me. One of the MOM.
Oh, yeah.
And can I say, Tom Holmes' penalty, like straight and true, straight down. Because I know how I looked at him to see how nervous he was. So second half, if people don't know, there was a push. Referee's given the penalty. There was only one man that was taking that, and that was Tom Holmes.
Exactly.
And he's just gone up there, and you could probably see a little bit of nervousness in his face. And he's just gone up there, and whacked it, literally straight and true, down the middle of the netting. It was unbelievable. Like, well played.
I thought it was when we got the first one in the first half, and I was looking at Tom Holmes because obviously I was playing in defence, which is never a good sign when you concede the goals. But it's like, yeah. So when we got the penalty in the first half, I was looking at Tom Holmes. I was like, is it unacceptable to sub somebody on to take the penalty and then sub them back off?
Depends what situation it is,
Exactly.
Like, are we going into a final or what? Or, no, exactly. But we managed to get another one in for him. So
exactly.
Really.
Oh yeah, a quick note on Tom Lindsay as well. Yeah, because the game's been recorded apparently. I still don't know when it's coming out. But obviously we had. Well, do you remember those two commentator boys sat in the dump? That's another great stuff. The level we were playing. So when I arrived, because me and Tom Lindsay were the first. Or I think you arrived just a bit before us.
Yeah. And
then so me and Tom Lindsay arrived, and these two boys came up to me because obviously Tom Holmes wasn't there. So everybody said like, "Oh, Sam's sort of got a hand in it." And I was like, I have no idea what's going on today, but I'll happily take any responsibility for the boys. So
Vice Captain Sam Matthews.
No, I think Vice Captain was Josh Breen. We gave Josh Breen the honours of captain.
Did you? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't want the pressure. I'm gonna keep my head down and silent workhorse character. So I arrived, and these two boys came up to me holding Jaeger bombs at 20-12, and they were both in like shirt and tie, and I was like, "Oh, you lads are dressed up for this. It's nice to meet the kids." He's like, "We're the commentators." I was like, "Well, this is gonna be great." And they're like, "Yeah, we're just trying to take the nerves off." I was like, "Yeah, you do that with a bottle of beer, not 3 Jaeger bombs."
Really? Yeah. Can you? Why are you slurring my name, Sam Matthews?
Yeah. I was waiting to look over in the second half to see one of them just asleep on the other one, just like nodding against him. But yeah, so when that comes out, that's going to be getting plastered all over this because there was some proper hilarious moments in that game and then we can explain it as well because, like you said, half of their team, like there must have been a special deal on like triceps and pecs at that place because
It was.
I know. We had a ragtag kit situation, but those kits looked extremely tight.
Very tight, and obviously they had Danny Andrews playing for them, didn't they? I mean, he was like, he's built anyway, and then they had the forward. I want to say Penga.
Pengers or something, isn't it? Yeah.
Pengers or something like that. I think it's Penga's tattoos. I think it is a little bit of a little bit of a promotion there for you, mate.
He's got like 90,000 followers. He doesn't need my promotion.
It's ridiculous.
I need his promotion.
Or we can get some of his. But he was up front, and he was stocky as anything, and he was like quick. He was rapid off the mark. He got out of breath quite a bit, but he was rapid off the mark. And then who was I marking? Coots.
Yeah, we had Jordan was in between us too, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he turned around. Do you know what? He turned around to me at one stage and he said, "Do you know what? I don't know how you do this." And I said, "What's that?" He went, "Well, you do this and you wrestle people at the same time, get back up, and you still do." I said, "Yeah." I said, "That's not a bad point, and I understand his way of thinking." But also, I said to him, "I don't understand how you do this." And he said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, okay, might not be as physical as rugby. There is obviously some physical side to the football." I was like, "But you run at this 90 minutes."
It's like 90-minute shuttles is what it is. Yeah,
exactly. And I said, "Look at the ball in play time." I said, "We've got line-outs and scrums." I said, "Scrum resets can take a minute and a half. Well, that's the rest for us back." So I was like, "For you guys, it goes out for a throw-in. Within 5 seconds, it's back in." I was like, "The ball in play time is so much more." I was like, "You guys are mental." I was like, "I need to be like 45K running around here, whatever, like not 85K or 90K sort of running around doing that." So like, it was quite nice to have a quick chat with him. But obviously, I marked him the whole time. And we had a good sort of like tit for tat actually a couple of times, and we didn't manage to foul each other, which is quite nice. Everyone come off fairly unscathed.
I was waiting for a red card in the charity game. I thought that was going to be a good one to tell.
Yeah.
It was a nice friendly event. 6 red cards and 5 yellows.
6 red cards. Yeah. What did you get sent off on the first 5 minutes?
I don't know. Just didn't fancy it, mate. Just fancy it. I was a bit tired.
Yeah, flying headbutt. Sorry.
Yeah. I didn't know the rules, mate. I just stuck shouldering somebody. Just natural instinct took over.
Yeah, exactly.
I was saying that to I think it was Chamber. I was like, my biggest fear walking out in this pitch is that I have to keep reminding myself I'm playing football. Because you'll know yourself, you naturally get into that thing. Like the team walk out, you're like, right, big hits. No, don't make big hits. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, chop tackles. No, tackle with your feet, not with your arms.
Yeah, well, it's like, especially when you because I'm in the forward, so all I'm used to doing is just head down and smash into people for 90 minutes, and then if somebody lets you touch the ball, that's a bonus. That's how I play. Absolutely. So somebody was like, "Oh,
you'd be smashing breakdowns for like 90 minutes."
Sam,
what are you doing? You're playing football.
Yeah, that's it. I'm there for turnovers and rucks. That's all I'm there to do. Like my old man used to coach my team, and he's like, "You are famous in the circle of like the region for being able to play rugby without touching the ball. You have no care for the ball. The only time you want to touch the ball is then hear the ref blow the penalty for not releasing. That's the only time I want to touch the ball."
Yeah, you are what we call the workhorse.
Exactly. Never make it on any highlight. I said it to Tom Holmes' fiance. I was like, if you can get a photo of me touching the ball to actually prove that I played, that would be grand. Because there will be no photo evidence of it.
She's like that.
Yeah, just follow me.
Yeah.
Oh, but no. So I think we raised something like, I think it was £2,500 for tickets on the day.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Like, I think Tom and Connor had said it at the end in terms of what they'd raised or whatever. And I think there's a few more coming through because I think was it a silent auction? I think there as well. So
yeah, it was an auction for Jack's charity or something. It was for their kids.
Yeah, that's right. So, oh mate, it was just brilliant. And the fact is like when you do something like that, and it was great to hear everyone talking afterwards. Like, can't wait to do it again, and we'll do it down sort of like I suppose south or whatever, but more towards sort of like Bristol way. And I think Tom Lindsay said something about was obviously using his Bristol connections, which would be quite good. But I think just something like that, and you get a taste for it of like what the day was like, and whatever, and obviously the reasons why you do it, and you just go, well, we need to do more of it. And the thing is, like you said, then I didn't realise how big the crowd would have been, and then they come along, they enjoy the day, obviously. Through this lockdown period, but how good was it for them to come out? Obviously, just watch. Okay. To the purist, it wasn't the best of football games, but it was. There
was still 17 goals though, so that's what everybody wants to see. Like 17 goals in a game of football.
Exactly, and that's what people come to see. People just enjoying themselves and smiles on faces, isn't it? So I think to to do that and then get the chat of a rematch, for example, is going to be outstanding. So no, looking forward to the next the next game.
I just need to get fit for it though. That's my request to you. Help me get fit for the next one.
Mate, I'm gonna brush up my ideas on the old football fitness, and we'll be just going for it. We'll be just we'll put like a time slot like 2 months prior to the game, and maybe we'll do like some some virtual keepy uppies. Just get some ball, touch on the balls and stuff. That'd be great.
I know, because our last team at training was Zoom call, just having a bit of banter.
Yeah, exactly. With a beer. Excellent. Yeah. Sounds great.
Everybody was just drinking. We're like, this isn't going well. I'm pretty sure it's a week before the game as well.
Yeah. This is what we're going to do the night before and the night after the game. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, let's stick to just drinking beers.
What about the game? We'll worry about that when we get there. We'll just worry about it when we get there.
Absolutely.
Right, mate. I want to talk to you before we talk about rugby, because we just talked about the football. I want to talk to you about your life outside of rugby, because that's why I want to get these people on. I want to talk about their stories. I want to talk about them as people. Yeah. But just before we do that, have you been catching up? Did you watch the Olympics? Did you get a chance to look at most of that?
Yeah, I did. I got to watch a fair bit. I say not obviously, sort of like there's been times where I've in past Olympics where you just continually watch or just jump from sport to sport. But I've managed to pick up especially a lot of highlights and stuff on BBC like sport and stuff. No, absolutely. I think it's been good. Don't get me wrong. I think with everything with the COVID going on and no supporters obviously being out there, I still think it's great to go out and represent the country. So well done to all the great especially Great Britain going out there and getting all those medals. So well done to everybody. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree. Which sports did you find took your interest more than others? Yeah, so obviously the sevens I think was very good, and I think more so for both GBs in terms of obviously where they come from, in terms of the difficulties they've had, within their within their program and stuff, and everyone kind of knows that. So obviously that was a given that I was going to watch a bit of that. The diving is unbelievable. Like some of those dives, and the team that got me with the Chinese team. Where it had that, I think one of the lads was 21, 22 or whatever, fairly young, and the other, his partner, synchronized, he was 40 odd, and it was his. I remember that. Fifth or sixth, I don't know, whatever, fifth or sixth sort of Olympics, and I was just like, that's ridiculous. If I am playing professional rugby at 40, that's outstanding. Yeah. So I'm at the moment, I'm actually looking to get a contract and come back to retirement. I was going to say, you're the coach. You just hired Cal Circa. Just hire yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just put my pen to paper. Yeah, no, sounds good. So you got me really excited there. I believed you for a wee second. I was like, yes, Jess is back on the game. No. But if anybody wants to sign me on like maybe a 25 million a year contract like Lionel Messi, that'd be really, really good. Just pocket change. If that happens, I'll become your agent, and I'll get you so many deals for that. There we go. There's an incentive for you, Sam. There we go. Exactly. You've got to get me a contract. That was a really good story. Obviously Tom Daly and the rest of the divers for Great Britain did great. Taekwondo was unreal again. For me, it's like the small movements, how you score a point, and the deft touches that they can get. And then their flexibility is absolutely ridiculous. Like it's the leg. It's how they kick that way, but somehow their knee just rotates to kick that, and you're and then how they flatten their foot to try and hit the marker and score the point. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? So no, that was really good. Obviously the athletics, I love anyway. I've loved athletics for a long time, but I found that really good. Again, interesting. I think there was certainly a few surprises in there in terms of Great Britain medals as well, which is really, really good. But no, it was just again, Olympics, isn't it? You can pick up any sport and just sort of like watch it, because they're all really interesting, Exactly. I find myself claiming I'm professional about sports I've never seen before. Like I'm a sucker for the gymnastics. I don't know why. I think I've always been jealous of gymnasts and just like the sheer body control they have. And I'll find myself watching like Max Whitlock on the pommel horse, and his legs will skim the bar or something. And I'm like, oh Max, that's terrible. You should be doing so much better. And I'm sat there going like, I think I'd pull every muscle in my body getting onto the pommel horse. Never mind like trying to do it. Yeah, completely. I think just on that as well, because I think it was the story from, I think it was Max Whitlock, where obviously in the COVID, obviously throughout the COVID period, they had like obviously all of their equipment in their gardens, and they were obviously doing their practice, and it was I think it was on Thursday night. I watched it last Thursday night. I think it was the Great Britain pole vaulter, and how she was in a garden. She had cones set up in a garden, and she was doing her sort of her run up, and then she had like this sort of not even half pole, it was like quarter pole, but to get the weight of it, I think she'd like strapped on like a tin of beans or a tin of something on the end of it to like get the weight of it. So like, and I was like, so you talk about the lengths that they go to in terms of professional training, but actually once lockdown happens, they just have to make amends. They have to try and think outside the box. And I found that really interesting, like the fact that they're so dedicated that they're like, I can't be bothered to be inside and sit and watch TV. I'm going to be outside. I've got my cone set up. They weren't even, it wasn't even like a big long garden. She had the camera done there, and she was just mimicking what her sort of like pole vault setup would be like. And I thought that was just outstanding. I tell you what, dedication to the cause, and it's sort of like it sort of like works when you go out there and you represent Great Britain at the Olympics. So I think it's outstanding.
Exactly. Did you see that video? I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the swimmers, and they had like they had some sort of like paddling pool, like the ones you buy from Aldi, and they're like 2-3 feet deep. And he had that, and he had a
couple out there for kids.
Mate, in Scotland, all I need to do is just put a bucket outside and give it about 3 days, and I'll have a paddling pool. So what he did is he had this paddling pool, and he literally, like the resistance bands, like the props get to train like holding their weight. He had 2 of them, and he strapped them over each shoulder, and he was just doing butterfly in this paddling pool against these resistance bands. So they were just pulling it back to mimic going through water.
That's mad.
I know, like it's the ingenuity of that as well. Like, because if somebody went to you going recreate swimming in an Olympic pool, and all you've got is a 2 foot by 2 foot pool.
Yeah, I'd be. I wouldn't even think about the elastic bands. I'd be just literally going in. I'd be going 1 stroke, back out, another stroke. This is good fitness, Jessy. Yeah, you're not really mimicking swimming here.
My turns would be the only good part of me, because I'd just be doing kick to kick to kick to kick to kick. And that's it. If I'm 5'8" and I'm doing kick to kick, then we're doing well. So I reckon Adam Peaty's got probably 1.5 feet on me. Yeah,
because he got gold, didn't he?
Did he get 2? No, he got 1 gold and 2 silvers, I think.
2 silver, yeah.
Like, you have that image. I have that image of him on the BBC, and I can see the 3 medals around his neck. I'm trying to remember what colour they are.
Yeah, exactly. I know he did well. I know he did very well.
No, if you're listening, Adam, come on the podcast, because I'd love to get your story. Because if that was you, because I know it was a British swimmer, and if it was you, I'd love to understand how you came up with that.
That'd be brilliant. Right. That'd be so good.
Talking to this ingenuity and willingness to exercise and being outside when everybody else was inside. This is why I wanted to get you on, Jessy, because you, like I said earlier, you're infectious with your get out and can do attitude. So where did this attitude towards life come from? Because you are the man that's, like, for example, it's torrential rain as I'm looking outside my window now, and I can't see I can't see the hills that we normally walk up because it's that foggy and cloudy. Yeah. But I know if you were here, you'd be like, we'll just do the 12K today, and I would be convinced that that's a good idea.
Yeah, we're just attacking it. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't really know. I think I suppose I don't really know. I say that. I think it's always been inside me. But obviously, throughout your career, whatever, I think it's mainly to do with, I suppose, the cultures that I've been around, and the sort of like in the professionalism, home cultures, home life is like very much like a hard work, attitude. And I think that's sort of like delivered, through my stages in my career. Whereas I was never the most talented of rugby players, to be fair. Like, when sometimes you must have friends that are just naturally talented, gifted. They can pick up a tennis racket, racquetball, whatever, and they. I
annoyingly can see the person as well, which is really.
Yeah, there you go. Like, I picture like a Henry Slade. A Henry Slade is that type of person that can sort of like play any sport, and I was never that kind of person. I had to work really hard at my skills, and I had to work really hard, with my extras and all those bits and pieces. And to be fair, the professional rugby side of things came into me late, and then. Gradually, I then realised that if you just keep on working hard, a bit like yourself, you get your head down, you just keep working hard or whatever, you'll reap the rewards. And it may not come within the next couple of days or the next year or 2-3 years, whatever. But if you just keep trying, and then yeah, I think that kind of evolved then, sort of like post rugby, because essentially when rugby goes, you lose. There's something that you've cared for and sort of like passionate about, and you've lost. And straight away, you're itching and dying to get back into, a form of routine or something that makes you happy. And essentially, like, I liked every aspect of rugby: the running around, the gym side of stuff, keeping on top of like nutrition and stuff, and all those bits and pieces. And I just then decided to evolve that into my sort of like home life. And then it was more so the fact that, I was already doing that anyway, but I wanted to continue it post rugby. And then I took up sort of running, because obviously I used to run anyway, never really run, because you're running all the time playing rugby. And I just thought, do you know what, I'm going to take up some running. And look, I suppose within that, I was doing that a lot within COVID, because it's anything you can do, like home workouts and stuff, doing like, plate workouts and barbell workouts and stuff like that. And the physical activity, staying physical, massively helps my sort of like my mental health as well, my mind. And then I just took upon myself to do a couple of challenges. I did the 10K a day back in last November, which
that was ridiculous.
To be fair, like, I think I should have really picked, maybe a June, July, where it's quite nice. But yeah, November started off with quite, first couple of week and a half. Yeah, it was all right, wasn't too bad. And then you kind of got up a bit, like you said, you get up to a bit of torrential rain and some fog and stuff and whatever. But I just kind of like started to do some challenges. And then I did the millimeter challenge with Salsa Sport and Super Sport Southwest, who are linked with the Cornish Pirates back in April. So I did that 1 millimeter challenge, which is, I ended up doing about 10K a day, but it was around about 7K you had to do just as our group. And it was just, something that I kind of enjoyed and I kind of wanted to push. And essentially then I kind of, I suppose, tagged, because I felt that if people could see me doing something. Now, listen, I know physical activity isn't going to help everybody. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that sort of like kind of, guy to go, oh yeah, everyone's got to get out and whatever. But it didn't matter what the exercise was. You could go out and, walk a dog. You can go out and, I don't know, go for a swim. You can go out and, go for a walk, go rock climbing, whatever. So whatever your chosen activity was, it was more so being outside. And then another big thing of that was actually we are not meant to be indoors. We're we are creatures of habit, and we do become that kind of. But like we weren't, when we were, evolving, we weren't indoors all the time. So it's about being outdoors. And I know this pandemic has shut people away and made people very nervous, anxious about coming back outside. But it's just about getting out, getting in the fresh air. And I just felt if I could like find a way of inspiring people. Now, some people, for example, on social media, look at a story and go, oh, Jessy's talking about getting up, getting out, getting active again. I can't be bothered with that. Fine, they can just push forward. But I felt like if people could see that and maybe take up a chosen sport, like I know one of my good friends who I tag in all the time now, he's gone major into his cycling, and he started off literally cycling on a turbo in his gym. Now he's outside around Devon stuff, like clocking up 30 odd Ks, 40 odd Ks, and he's doing outstandingly well. And then I got another. I used to coach her son, and she's doing barbell. She's back into cycling. She's into running. She's doing loads of stuff. And her thing was like getting into her little black dress. And she had this goal.
I think I saw this post the other day. Actually,
yeah. And like she was, she wanted to fit into that, and like all she's done is tag on to other people that have like kept her. I suppose it's kept her inspiration, that kept her motivation going. And I just feel like if we can keep ourselves motivated throughout this pandemic and post-pandemic, we could all be better people, and we could all look after our minds, look after our bodies in a better way. So yeah, it's been good, and it's something that I'm going to continue to do. I'll continue to do until I pop my clogs, to be fair. But you see me there running a marathon when I'm 85 or something.
Mate, I would not put it past you, mate. If somebody would pick a marathon runner in there at like octogenarian age, I'd put Matthew Jess down.
Yeah, there we go. So no, it's like I say, it's fun, and like it's really something really easy to post. You say a little quote, whatever, and it's like I get nothing for it. I guess it's not a business that I'm professing for, but like it's just something that I find that you can inspire other people, and I think if people pick up on it, if you inspire one person, you're doing a really good job, and I think that's really important.
Exactly. Well, you've worked on me. You've definitely made me hold myself accountable.
Yeah, man.
So now,
I saw the way you were moving at that football game. I was like, go on, somebody!
Mate, I was good for the first 20 minutes, and then the calf, because this is another thing about the game. I never told Tom Home, but so when we were doing the game before, I was like, I'm gonna get the sprints in and just get, the agile, the 5-yard pace back.
Yeah.
And then I did it, and then like right in the deep part of your calf when it just goes, oh, hold on, and I was like, but this was in the point in the chat when we were having names drop out every day, and I was like, I've booked the train, I've booked the hotel,
I'm in.
I'm not giving up on this now. No. So I was good for the first 20 minutes. Then the boy, because we had that physio, and the boy with my calf was like, "Yeah, don't go back on." And then next thing somebody got really hurt. I was like, "I have to go back on."
Can I just say we have got that great photo of you stretching your calf out quite well, wasn't he? I was like that. I was like that man's putting a shift. He's putting a shift.
That hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt. Right, mate. Life away from sport. So when you're not jogging, taking up, burning tire holes in the roads with your 30Ks, your 40Ks, 10Ks a day. What's the Matty Jess relaxation tips? What's his pastimes?
So like family time is big for me. Massively. Like family time's really good. Like this morning, taking the boys to swimming, was outstanding. And like seeing, because for me it's like not missing a moment with like family and doing bits and pieces. I do like a bit of DIY. I'm not saying that I'm any good by any chance, but I do like to do a little bit of DIY and sort of like we've just converted our house in Tenby, spent a year doing it, and like the other day my wife Sarah had bought a sort of like it's like a climbing frame essentially, and it was just sitting outside for about 2 weeks, and I chose, I think it was the hottest day of the year to just get it out and put it up, and I was like, what am I doing? She actually said to me, what are you doing? I was like, I'm sick of this being out in the garden. We need to get this up. So like DIY is really good. I'll tell you what I'm into now is a bit of gardening. So not so much the planting and bits and pieces, all good for the watering the plants and stuff, but whacking the mower around the garden and attending to the lawn. And I suppose that's my age talking as well. But I quite enjoy it. Again,
sorry, carry on.
No. I was going to say, I enjoy that side of things, and like again, it's just something to get me, in the outdoors. So as soon as it's a nice day and grass is cutting, I'm out there. Do
you know what you need? My missus got me one for my birthday because I asked for it, and it's a bonsai tree. But she bought me one. She bought me one that's so much bigger than I thought it'd be. So it's generally like 3 foot tall. So I can't even keep it in my bedroom because it's that tall. So we keep it in the dining room downstairs. But it's so therapeutic looking after it. I'd honestly recommend one.
I thought bonsai trees were like that.
So did we when we bought it, but she said she bought it so she bought it and like you say, you're expecting something that to come in the post.
Yeah.
Apparently the DPD guy arrived just holding this like tree, and she was like, "Yeah, this is the bonsai tree."
That's crazy. Can I just say we need to go back to the Miyagi days and the Karate Kid days and say that's false advertisement, because when he had his tree and snipping his tree, they're that big. So we can go false advertisement there, Sam.
Exactly, but hey, bigger's better. That's what I tell myself.
There we go.
Exactly. Right, mate. We're gonna have to talk about your rugby career because it's a pretty fucking cracking one, and I really want to talk about it. So you're now coaching your boyhood team when you started out your career. So how did you get signed up by the Cornish Pirates? Was it straight out of school? Was it early on, or?
Yeah,
it's like you said, you had to work hard. So I don't know whether it was a.
That's right. So my best mate had secured a YTS deal, like youth training scheme with them, and I was still in college doing my studies, and I was playing for my local club, sister club, Mount Spey at the time, which, to be fair, had actually just signed a couple of like ex-Pirate players, so they're fairly good. You can imagine they're like 32, 33, still got some game time in them, and. We literally rinsed that league. Like I basically stood out on the wing and just scored a load of tries, and it was no thing of my own. It was just literally they'd just give me the ball and I'd run over. And I played this one game against Houston, scored about 4. I think I scored 4 tries in the game. And Kev Mosley at the time, who's the head coach of Pirates, was like, "Look, we'd like to get you on loan, and we've got this game against Kendall coming up, and we'd like to play in it." And I was training with the Pirates I think it was on a Tuesday, and then I trained with Mount Spey on a Thursday. So I get sort of like a really good sort of standard of. Not saying that the Mount Spey was a bad standard of coaching.
I know what you mean. Yeah. The higher level.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to sort of like diss the club. But no, it was so I did that, and then he put me on loan. I played against Kendal, and I remember my mum watching me, and this winger that I was up against, he was 6'4", and there's me at 5'11", literally 10 stone soaking wet. My mum was like, "Oh my word, he's going to get absolutely hooned here." And to be fair, I did all right. Ended up chip and chase and playing, nearly scored and made a couple of breaks. Did all right tackle wise. Physicality, I wasn't really there. And then I meant to play the week after against Doncaster. That got cancelled, and then went back off loan. Well, then that's it. The next minute, he was like, "Look, we want to sign you on a youth training scheme for the year after." So I was essentially what my best mate was on. So I did that along my studies, and then within that, I got selected for the under-21 squad, England squad, wider squad, with players like Matt Cornwell, Matt Hampson, obviously who people would know with the Hambo Foundation. So I went and did a stint with the 21s, and then they offered me a full-time contract. And basically, I said to myself, do I so I carried on my studies, had this sort of like full-time contract. And I finished that end of year of my studies, and then I took on the option to do another year with a contract with the Pirates. Before then, the year later, I went off to the Newport Gwent Dragons, had a year there. Fairly bad injury, came back down to Launceston, semi-pro. So I dropped down out of the pro leagues, dropped into semi-pro rugby, and then managed to get myself back up by Exeter watching me that Launceston year. And then next minute, I've done 9 years then with Exeter. So it all started, a good old Cornish Pirates.
Exactly. No, you've come full circle. So
full
you skipped
circle.
You skipped over it. So my old man, he preaches, because he went to uni in Swansea, and he preaches about Swansea and Welsh rugby. So what was it like playing for the Dragons? Like, what is the culture like in a Welsh rugby club?
So I'm actually coaching in. So I'm doing a Thursday night in a local rugby club in here now, and it's the culture's good. It's tough. And I remember it always being tough. So this Newport was great. And then if you weren't playing for Newport, you go and play for a regional club. So I went and played for Vale. Alex Codlin was a coach there at the time. And I must have had about 3 or 4 games for them. And I remember playing against Swansea, right? And there's this lad playing on the back row. You probably know of him, Richie Pugh. Big blonde hair, and sort of like, he was the biggest nose I've ever met in my life. And I was just like, I don't like him like one bit.
Yeah.
Like that kind of player. Like he was niggly, he was into your face, whatever. And I was like, this is like welcome to Welsh rugby. That was the kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, funny enough, the year that I signed for Exeter, 2 years down the trot, they signed Richie Pugh as well. Well, the nicest bloke I've ever met, and like we ended up being like really, really good mates. And I think you'll find a lot of rugby players will say like, they judge somebody on the rugby pitch and you judge them off the pitch. And usually when you judge them off the pitch, they're a lot nicer than they are on the pitch, just because of pure competitiveness.
Two separate people. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, what was it? Is it me, myself, and Irene, isn't it? You get Hank. Is it Hank? Yeah, that comes out. The angriness comes out. And crazy. But the Welsh rugby in the regions, it is just so hard. It's tough. It's, you're talking about, it's almost like, some of the Welsh rugby players can like hit bigger than the Polynesians, and the Islanders, those kind of players. But I just always remember it being sort of like just, you knew you were in for a game. There was no sort of like, this is an easy one today and rubbing your hands. It was literally like, no, your guards are up, you're ready to go. I don't think it's much changed, to be fair. And I think that's just purely with the culture and the coaches and how people have been coached. That's all going to stay in the Welsh rugby regions. And it's good. It's certainly challenging. I'd put it that way. It's very challenging.
Are the nights out still the stuff of legend they were when?
Well, to be fair, obviously with COVID, I don't know, but obviously one of my mates, he went for a stag in Cardiff the other day, and he said it was just mental. He said it was crazy. He said it was really, really good. He said the only thing we had to do was just book tables everywhere. He said, but people are still absolutely nuts. You get all the people, I suppose, from the valleys coming down and sort of partying and whatever. And next minute you're going to find a group that are a little bit crazy, and that's it, isn't it? You're into the full flow of it. So, I remember Cardiff always being a good night out, and I've done a couple of good nights in Swansea as well, which is good.
Mate, I've never had a night out in Wales. It's next on my list. That was
mate,
first night out in Manchester. So now I need to go to Wales.
You can stay at mine, mate. Don't worry about it. We'll get you flow tested at the door, and then you can stay at mine.
Mate, honestly, between you and Cal Circle, I've got about 6 nights on the south coast lined up now.
Mate, amazing. I'll tell you what. You can stay with me. You can get you can stay with me on the Saturday night. On the Sunday, we could drive down to Cornish Pirates together.
Yeah.
You could even train. You could train, interview the boys, whatever, and then on the Monday night we go out. That'd be brilliant.
Mate, there must be some YouTube content we can make there for the Cornish Pirates.
There we go.
Take your bang average Scottish rugby players here. He does in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. We could do our recovery sessions in the pool, like not in the pool, in the on the prom when we jump off the prom. That'd be great.
Oh mate, I would be fine because we have in our local town here. We used to traditionally pre-season training. We have this massive hill that we have next to our rugby pitch. And what we do there when we were playing under 18s is we'd use it for sprints in the pre-season, but then once training finished, you'd go down to the river, use the river as the shower in the bath, get yourself washed up and shake. We have showers, we just use the river optionally. We're not that sort of rugged.
Saving water. You're tight.
Exactly.
You're tight. You're just you're tight.
Environmentally friendly, and it saved the club a bit of cash. But what we then do is we get these massive bits of tarpaulin cover, put them on the hill, and we made our own sort of water slides. And we do that, so that, like, they're the best things you can do for it. Like, as soon as you get water in a tarpaulin and just make it into a slide.
How good's that? Amazing. Get your fairy liquid down there, off you go.
That's, mate, you used to go to Sainsbury's, 2 of you, so there'd be 1 boy who could drive, and there'd be 6 of you at this trolley with about 7 bottles of fairy liquid, 12 cases of beer, and you just go in, and you'd have the one kid who was 18 that could buy it for everybody.
Yeah, I bet there's, what was it, the what they call them, the checkout girls or lady or man looking at you like that. I know exactly what you're doing.
Exactly. Because we live in such a small town, it was just like, yeah, as long as you're 18 that buys it, be like, you knew it was suspicious when he was coming out just a bunch of fivers. It didn't just have a lot of cash. You just clearly the boys had done a rip round, just everybody had a fiver.
And then you get the odds, there's a couple of quid because he can.
that one boy was giving it all in coppers and like, great, just cutting that out.
Yeah, coppers and 5p's.
Oh, mate, so as you said, you've done my job nicely for me, and you've got it hanging perfectly in the background, your Exeter Chiefs jersey.
Yeah.
How was it winning the Premiership with the Exeter Chiefs? And then not only that, but how is the mentality? Because Exeter Chief is famous for its team bonding, team mentality, and togetherness. And
yeah, absolutely. I think and that's something that's sort of like been from old as well, like from the days down at the county grounds before they moved up to Sandy Park. But in terms of the club and the culture and staff, players, all that, it's what a place to be. Obviously you know, don't want to say that the vibes in Devon and Cornwall because that's quite talking about the
touchy subject.
Very touchy subject indeed. But I had 13 good years in Devon, and 9 of those were playing for the Chiefs. But it's just a club that have all strived and had a really good vision. It's all cliche, isn't it? When you arrive at a club and you say, they've got a great vision and stuff like that, but they generally have. They've got a really good vision, and they want to be the best, and they've always wanted it. Tony Rowe, Rob Baxter, Ali Heifer, all the coaches, Ricky Pello, always wanted it. And the best thing they've done is their recruitment. So they recruit. Well, I'm not saying that because they recruited me, but they recruit good people. Recruit good people, good characters, and they never did like a London Welsh or a Bristol and they where they go up and they kind of like pile in a load of experienced players. They've got people, especially in that championship year, that wanted to make the Prem. People that have never quite made the Prem but have had that the drive and the ambition to get there, and they'll do anything to get it. And I think that was their key thing. And that was their key ingredient. And then on top of that, all they did then was, over the years, they just drip fed, really experienced people in. Tom Waldrum, Dean Munn, a few marquee players there. And then obviously the likes of their academy system, Jack Knowles, Henry Slade, Sam Hill, those type of players, Ben Moon, etc. that have been there for a very long time. And they've just, built this culture. And it makes it so much easier when people then join the club to just fit in, because they within like the first couple of days, you're going to know the culture, what's happening, where to sit, what to do, what not to do, and it was a great journey, and it certainly gave me a lot of life lessons as well, especially post rugby as well, like more into my coaching career than anything else, but also just your afterlife in terms of rugby, your kind of your outlook on things and how you look after yourself. So absolutely outstanding. And there it is, behind me, sort of sitting proudly on the wall. As it should.
I want to come back to your coaching because that's the next stage I want to talk to you, because I think your coaching is going to be. I think as an infectious person and infectious atmosphere, I think your coaching is going to be even better than your playing career. Personally, I say that as a guy who has all the experience of coaching in the world. A couple of reps of coaching the schools under 15s, but.
Mate, you were coaching me in that football. You were sitting in front of me, telling me where to go. I quite enjoyed that, Sam.
That's all I've got. I just had talking because it involved me not running. I was like, if I talk to Jessy, I don't have to run. That's what
you like Dennis. You like the old school Dennis Wise against playing for Chelsea. Brilliant.
Massive Chelsea fan. If you mention me to Dennis Wise, I'll tear up. But.
There we go. Hey, and we can get Dennis Wise on over in 80 minutes.
If Dennis Wise or Frank Lampard or Gianfranco Zola came on, it'd be the worst podcast in the world because it'd be 80 minutes of me just crying and telling them how much I love them. You'd have my old man sat next to me just talking to Gianfranco Zola. I wouldn't get a word in. It'd just be me, my dad, and Gianfranco Zola talking.
Amazing, brilliant.
So what was I going to ask you? We were talking. So when they were getting these players in the culture, and you were saying that championship year, was it very much like you said they got players that wanted to be in the Premiership? Was it? And then you got these players in when they're like when they were recruiting, was it almost like not rugby's the second most important thing, but it was your character outweighs your rugby ability? Like you can be the best rugby player in the world, but if you're not right for the culture, you're not coming.
Yeah. So for me, and this is the way I kind of look at it now. So obviously you've got to have some sort of rugby ability out. There's no point in signing you really. Okay, why have you signed him? He's a good bloke. Good on the smash. He is good on the smash. Yeah. That is it. But like.
Team morale.
Exactly. Yeah, he's just going to pump the boys up every game. He's not going to be on the pitch. But for me, it's got to have a bit of both. So he's got to have the rugby ability, but then the character, and I think the character is the big thing because essentially, if the guy if he's got great rugby ability, but he can't fit in with the squad, well then he's not going to add to that playing. He's not going to add to the team. He's not going to add to his own personal development because he's so. Isolated, and he will isolate himself from other people. If you've got a group of players there, well, that everyone wants to have that isolation period and go, I just want to be by myself or whatever. Everyone has that kind of, those moments. But if he has the collective moment where he's in the moment, whether it be training, in games, where he can gel and be with the squad and know the direction and the blueprint and the vision of the squad, and then input that as much as they can, as best they can, skill-wise, execution-wise, then you've got a decent machine there. And that was the key thing. So that's what they did. They brought in quite a few players. And then these players were all like champ players or played at champs. Myself, Tommy Hayes, Nick Sestre, all players that are on the cusp, on the cusp of sort of, hitting the Prem. And we never really done it. But when you've got 50 odds or, 55 squad members that are like itching and ready to go, and they're playing against a team that have kind of been there and done it. Well, who wants it more? And it's going to be the team that have just missed out or always missed out, and they're the people that are going to want it more. And the big thing that happened when we won the championship is that Rob didn't reinvent the wheel and go, "Yep, you're done. Pretty much everyone stayed. I'd say about bar one or two, everyone stayed. And they had, maybe a 1 or 2 year contract or whatever. And, potentially some, the wages went up slightly because you're in the Prem. So you get a really nice incentive then because you're a Prem player now. You're getting paid, essentially a Prem wage. And you go, right, okay, and then it's that second season, we got touted with the second season syndrome. And I was like, what? And I can understand why people would, because they're like, well, whatever. But actually, when you think about it, these 55 squad members or whatever, however many there are now, okay, haven't had Premiership rugby, right? You've now given them a Premiership season, the build-up pre-season, blah, blah, blah. Well, what's going to happen now? They are going to want to show people that we want it and we deserve to be in it. And that was the mentality. It was like, you show Gloucester on the first outing that we are meant to be here, the Simpson Daniels and the Mike Tyndalls and all that. And that's what we did. We won the first game. And then next minute, it was like, right, what's the next game? And everything became we're the underdogs. And you know what? We didn't mind for the first 3 or 4 years. But then at some stage, which obviously the Exeter Chiefs are now, they're not the underdogs anymore. They're the ones at the top. They're the Sarries of old. Everyone wants to knock them off. And Harlequins did that this year. So, when you get that, and I think this is why recruitment's so special, and it's what I'm learning now with my coaching, is that recruitment is so special. That if you don't get your recruitment right, you could be the best coach in the world, but if you haven't got the cattle to drive your vision and blueprint, well, there's no point. And I think, that's where it goes back to that recruitment side of things.
No, I agree. I think when I look at being a coach, I think the most fascinating bit would be like, the way I've always looked at it, I imagine off seasons are more fun for coaches than during the season, because you get to do that, you get to do the scouting, you get to do the player reports, you get to do the sit down meetings and getting the players in.
Yeah.
And I think that must be the most fun you can have, especially because I imagine how it went when you guys got Cal in, like seeing the happiness on the face of getting somebody in that wants to be at the club and something like that.
Exactly that. And with the Cal situation, it was very much, and I kind of spoke to, obviously he spoke on the podcast, obviously I listened to that today, and as long as you're having honest conversations with somebody and asking them what they want and what they need, and, I saw obviously Cal was leaving, and I was just like, I need to send him a message. And obviously we're obviously on the BlOKes group and stuff, and obviously we know each other that way and done a few Zoom calls together. But I was like, no, I need to ask him where's he going. When he said he had nothing, I was like, hold on a second, what we need to seriously look at this. And I spoke to my head coach and Gav Cattle, and next minute we looked at a few games. We talked about him. I knew he'd be the right fit in terms of character-wise, obviously, because I know him, and I think that's really important. And then it's all about the player. So you put everything back on the player, right? What do you want out of this year? And he was like, I need a challenge. I want this challenge. I want a challenge of, and I was like, that's brilliant. That is exactly what I need. Yeah. And my mentality around things at the moment, and this is what I've kind of learned, is that loyalty in rugby has kind of gone out of the way. It's starting to be removed because of the way that clubs are going. So everything's a business to a club now, which is fair enough. Like, everything's a business. You've got to understand that. And I so more understand that now. And probably didn't understand that towards my latter years. And my outlook now is actually create a brand for yourself. So, for example, someone like Cal would, create a brand for himself rugby-wise. But imagine if he could be the best individual player. Obviously, he's got to play collectively, but if he could be the best individual player for himself, well, he's going to make a massive input into the Pirates because he's scoring tries for the Pirates, which obviously brings a big sort of outlook for the Pirates. Well, both then entities are doing this. So it's a brand, it's a business, and we're going this way. Excellent. Yeah. So you're both working together that way. And then essentially, Cal's a young player. Well, what does he want? He would like to get back to the top. And, us as coaches who sit sort of just below the prem, well, if he gets touted the next year and he has a good year and he go, well, we've essentially done a job. We don't want to lose him, don't get me wrong, but we've done a job, and he's created that brand for himself, and he's done that himself. So I feel like if players now out there, and if any players are listening to this, then create a brand for yourself. Get on your Instagrams, get on your stuff. Put yourself out there a little bit. Show the world what type of player you are, what kind of character you are, and I guarantee if that business likes the brand, and you want to come in, you want to make a challenge, and you want to get that club to its heights, then you both in terms of separate entities, but collectively you're going in the right direction.
Exactly. It's like we were discussing Lionel Messi before with his contract. He gets the contract because he not only helps himself, but he takes the club with him. I think it was I saw today, obviously, my interest in social media through my work. PSG gained something like 19 million followers in 48 hours or something like that.
Absolutely crazy, isn't it? And
there's only one way that direction's going, is up.
Exactly. And I'd like to know, in terms of like shirt sales and stuff, like where that's gone now, and this is the thing, and this is where my mentality has massively changed. I understand the loyalties back in the day, don't get me wrong, because money wasn't a huge driver, but because money's a huge driver, because clubs now have businesses, and players need to understand, actually, yes, you can be loyal to a club to a certain extent, but actually, no, not say no, but create a brand for yourself. You've got to look after yourself, and I think that's really, really important. And as a coach, because you can go, two ways, because you want to keep a player, don't get me wrong, but also if they're going to fly the nest and leave home, that kind of thing, because he's such a good player, yeah, you're going to be, but God, what satisfaction would you be when somebody's gone up and they're making, headlines in the Premiership, and you as a coach have had, something to do with that person, or you've given him, a few of those things. So I think, creating a brand's absolutely massive, and I completely agree with you, Sam.
Well, especially if you say, because back, like you said as well, so if you get the right character, Cal could then have, say, God forbid, I like Cal at the Pirates, I think it's a good choice and it stays, but say if he then does, and then he has a friend who's in a similar situation that he was, where he was, in my opinion, unjustly let go, he will then be like, get on the phone to Matt Jess, get to the Pirates, stay to the Pirates, because like he'll reward the club back to it. He will preach the good word about Pirates, like you said.
Completely agree, and so that
like you said, like loyalty to a club, like it may not be himself being loyal, but in terms of being an ambassador for the club, he's loyal.
Exactly, and helping the club out, and I think that's really, really important, because at the end of the day, if you have this experience and good positive experiences, you're gonna talk about things, don't they, in terms of going around in full talk about full circle, me going back to the Pirates, but that is right. So if somebody's had a really good experience there and they've enjoyed it, and they know that somebody else is going to potentially have that and gain for themselves, then they're going to pass you on, which is great. So no, I completely agree with that, and I think that's a really, really good point.
Right, mate, we're getting there. I wanted to talk about your coaching. And we're getting really good talking about these people and brand loyalty and players, and how the sport is almost, once you get to the pro levels, the sport is almost an afterthought, because you have to be a good rugby player to play rugby at a high level. It's like a given, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So I was talking about this with Cal, have you ever seen the Coach's Rules for Life on Netflix?
I haven't, no.
It's so good. I honestly,
I'm gonna have to write this down. Coach's Rules for Life. It's a little short 5 or 6 episode documentary. Right, I'm in. Okay. But they literally, it's 6 different coaches, and it's like, so you've got Jose Mourinho on there. Yeah. You've got Doc Rivers, who's a basketball coach, and he coached the Boston Celtics when they had their super team. They had Kevin Garnett and people like that. Yeah. Okay. So, and Doc Rivers and Mourinho are the 2 episodes that stick out for me, because they basically just went, I'm not here to teach people how to play this sport. Like, you gave me Cristiano Ronaldo, the best player in the world at the time. What am I going to tell him about playing football that he doesn't already know? But what I can teach him is how to be in the team and how to be a team player and stuff like that. So is that how you approach coaching as a coach? Is that what you're trying to do? Or yeah, I suppose I do, but it depends, because it depends what type of person you're coaching at the time. So for me, it's like, if you could give them, because essentially they can all play rugby, but they might have to scrub up on a bit of their development in terms of a skill which they're going to have to maybe replicate week in, week out. For example, high ball skills or kicking. So that side of things, I'm really interested in, because if I could change somebody in terms of give them a few sort of pointers or tips in terms of executing that skill to a better execute that skill to a better outcome, then I will concentrate on that development. And then it's all dependent on the age. So, for example, if you're, and this is why I look at it, so if you're around that 18 to young 20s, you could change things without drastically mucking up their routine and memory, which they've probably inputted to themselves for a long time. Whereas like a 20, a bit like the Cristiano Ronaldo scenario, like somebody's at 28, 29, 30, you're not going to massively change them. And the time that you spend to go in there to change that type of skill, or that sort of like really small intrinsic part of their skill set, you're wasting your time, But what you can do is you could sort of show them. And I think that's a big thing. So if you start to show them, some of their behaviors, and what they're doing and what you want, so you show them the standard, they are able then to look at something and go, no, do you know what? I understand that. I'm not really carrying on the out, so this is what I'll do now, and I'll start getting the ball carrying on the out, for example, as a forward. So I look at it in terms of like the age and their age range. So the younger they are, the more you can add and input their development, and I think that's really key. Whereas the older they are, they've been surrounded and used to something that is in their sort of, I say, repertoire, for a long time. And it's about then, for me as a coach, I'd look and go, well, do I need to input that, or do I need to ask that question to him? So for example, a back 3 player, right? What do you want to work on? Okay, my high ball skills and kicking. Okay, brilliant. Okay, I need to see you, replicate these and do these, for a couple, a couple of clips of you doing it, and then I can take a look and break it down. So I think the younger they are, the more you break it down. The older they are, you show them a standard, and sort of show them the behavior that they want, and they should be able to start to integrate and get themselves. And that's what I like, especially in the development part of coaching.
No, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. No, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. just no, you're wrong, mate. I've got it sussed, and you're wrong.
Yeah. But I think I like the point that you make, like the Jose Mourinho's and stuff like that, in terms of the, when you know they've got enough knowledge and they know enough about the game. It's not about coaching them the small parts. It's about what they do and how they fit into the bigger picture. And I think that's really key. And that's something that probably I've not had huge amount. I've more coached in the development side of things, and it's something that I'm starting to get used to. And Gav and Alan down at the Corners Pirates, they're a couple of coaches that I'm massively going to learn off, and Chris Morgan, obviously, that I could learn off because they've been in that environment a little bit longer than me, but in a more of a full-time based environment as well. So I'm kind of like, sort of like those little things like that, watching, a Netflix, thing like that for me is going to be gold dust, because I'm just like you sponge it in, you write down notes and stuff. So it's great.
Yeah. Mate, I have tons of recommendations. I must have completed Netflix during lockdown 1 up here. So, because as you know, Scotland was much stricter than England. So we were sitting in your house and your garden was your best friend.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Last quick question before we get on to the teammate section, and I'll let you get on your merry way. What would your advice be to a young budding coach? Oh,
young budding coach.
Like one piece of gold dust you wish you could give, somebody could have given you on day one of coaching.
Yeah. Don't be afraid of making mistakes.
That sounds like the best advice.
Yeah. I think as a coach, you can overthink, and you want things, because you're a coach and you know what coaches have been like, you want things to be perfect. But actually, if you're taking a session and that session doesn't go well to your standard, the players don't know, because they're focused on the game or the skill of the exercise. Whereas you can go back, you can review it, you can write down what I could do better, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't put pressure on yourself. Yeah.
There we go. Short and sweet. I like that as well.
Yeah. Nice.
Literally 4 words. Don't make 3 words. Yeah, 3 words. Don't make a mistake. There you go. Get that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mate, MSJ coaching. MSJ coaching. Don't make mistakes. There you go.
There we go.
See, always thinking on the marketing side.
I was just about to say, that's your job coming through there, my friend.
Mate, I'm self-taught. I'm a marine biologist, like I tell you every time. I'm a marine biologist that's stuck in a landlocked town. That's what I'm done.
Love it.
Right, Matty Jess, I have had so much fun listening to this podcast, and we're getting towards the end. Just got a few quick questions to go.
Yeah.
But anybody that's listening, I mean, you will be listening because it's been impossible to switch off. In a world where you're getting on, be more Matty Jess, because I've had so much fun with this and it's so inspiring. That's how we knew you were a good bloke. Because after you left the football game, I said to Tom Lindsay, I was like, if people spoke about me half as nice as they speak about Matty Jess, I'd have a successful life. That's how I know I'm doing.
Mate, don't be silly. Mate, I'm not
Jesse, I reckon you could have walked up, punched somebody in the face, and they must have thought he's a top bloke. Like.
Top bloke, and that bloke deserved it.
Yeah, I don't know what he did or who he is, but he deserved it. It's like, mate, he was the local priest. No, he deserved it.
No, he deserved it. Absolutely. Oh, mate, no, it's I do appreciate your words, Sam, but also you are a top bloke as well, my boy, and also you wear the best boxer shorts ever.
Boxing shorts. Oh yeah. Boxing shorts, yeah. I thought you said boxing shorts. I don't remember boxing.
Boxing shorts, yeah.
If the day the BlOKes ever do a charity boxing match, I know we're in trouble.
There we go. Just have a skinful before you fight.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll just get on the same amount of gins. I was dead to the world anyway. I would have been fine.
Wouldn't feel a thing.
Exactly. Right, Matty Jess, this is the part where I get to have a bit of fun and I get to make some headlines for you in the Twitter sphere and the Instagram sphere. Okay. So this is the section I call teammates. But I've recently learned that there may be a copyright issue with One Soccer AM from the early noughties, so we might have to call it Under the Team Bus. We'll see how it goes. Because I realise I've completely stolen the name and the concept from them, but it's good fun, so I'm keeping it. I'll just change the name. So Under the Team Bus with Matty Jess. Same as the quickfire questions. Yeah. Ask you a question about that. Whichever player comes to your head, just say it out. It can be from your time at Exeter, it can be time from your Newport Gwent Dragons, it could be Pirates. It could be anybody that you've ever graced the pitch with. So, for example, first one, hardest tackler you've ever played with or against.
Oh, Wade Kelly.
Strong. What a shout.
Wade Kelly, yeah. Unbelievable.
Fastest feet.
Oh, James Short.
Really?
Yeah. Rapid.
Nice.
Rapid.
Right. Who is a human turnstile? Who can't make a tackle for love nor money?
Oh.
That's the reaction I like to see when people just deflate.
I'm going to have to say Lee Jarvis.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. I'll make sure I get him tagged in it for the
There we go.
Who's most up for a night out?
Most up for a night out.
Must be one of the Exeter boys. Your nights out are infamous.
Yeah, no, they were. Yeah, Steno.
Nice, Steenson.
Yeah.
Well, he's got his own pub in that, hasn't he? So
yeah, he has. Yeah. No, he's always up for night out. Spot on. Yeah, no, Steno. Absolutely. And usually it's going back to his. It wasn't his pub now. It's a Standoff, but the original Standoff, which was in his garage. Brilliant.
Did he have a pub in his garage?
Yeah, brilliant.
Love
Dartboard,
that.
everything.
Love that.
Yeah, Guinness. The Guinness sort of
the Surger things. Yeah.
Surger. Brilliant. Amazing.
I love that. That's proper rugby. That's what I like to hear.
Great.
Second only to taking him back to your own like rural town like clubhouse. That's the only best thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, following on from who's most up for a night out, who can't handle a night out?
Oh wow, Alan Paver.
You answered that very quickly.
Yeah,
you're like, oh yeah, Alan Paver.
Yeah, he's who I coach with now. Look, he just honestly, he'd be really good on this podcast. By the way, he's brilliant, such a good bloke, very knowledgeable coach. But
put him in touch.
A couple of beers, he is woo.
I can't wait for this night out in Cornwall. I'm going to be there.
You'll be in. You'll be drinking under the table.
Yeah, Alan, let me show you a gin and slim concoction. It goes down a treat. Just don't drink them at 4:30 and you'll be fine. Right. Who's got the worst fashion sense you've ever played with? Who's turned up in some outrageous gear over the years?
Oh, Greg Bateman.
Really?
Yeah.
What we talking?
We're talking jeans and sneens. I mean, daily. And do you know what? He had a really, really good thing because everyone used to say to him, "Mate, what's the jeans and sneens about?" And do you know what? He had a really good answer for it every time. He went, "Listen, you don't know when you need to break out into a sprint down Princess Hay." I was like, fair enough. That's a really good answer. Like, so Princess Hay is like the main shopping. And he's like, you just don't know when you're going to break out into a sprint. And I was like, do you know what? If I wore jeans and flip-flops, I mean, how bad is it running in flip-flops anyway?
Yeah.
Fair enough to the guy, you know? Never know when you're going to break out into a sprint. Fair enough.
I wonder what he's doing in his spare time that makes him think of, I need to be ready to sprint at any
I
opportunity.
know. Licking from drops or something.
Yeah, that's one of the questions you just go, yeah, fair enough, but I'm not going to delve deep into that anymore.
Exactly.
Right. Who's the best player you've ever played with skill-wise? Who was the person you just thought you were the most naturally gifted rugby player I've ever played with?
There's only one, Henry Slade.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I can completely believe that.
Unreal. Yeah, unreal.
I'd love to see him and Finn Russell in a team together.
Oh, my word. How good would that be? It'd be like 10 to 13 all the time, or kick pass. And like kick pass.
Yeah.
And
do you know the one person that would hate it? The winger opposite.
Because
he would be like, I have no idea where the ball is going.
Yeah, the winger or the inside centre, because the inside. Now we're not crashing them up. We're just either going to miss it to Slade and miss it then to the winger because we're going to miss a 15 out. So if you're a 15-12, and potentially maybe a couple of the wingers, you might be struggling with that.
If I was the top, I'd just keep running crash balls and just say, eventually they're going to pass it to me.
Yeah, they've got to. But just keep running good lines.
We just hear Finn just shout miss 5 or something. There'd be a hooker from the previous line out in the touchline. He'd get the ball.
Yeah.
Right. Following on from that, who's the most natural athlete you've ever played with? Not necessarily the best rugby player, but who's just you are a freak of fitness and strength?
Oh, I'm going to have to say James Short again. That man, oh my word. Literally, he is one of the most powerful, apart from seeing like someone like Cal now, training, by the way, because he is powerful. James Short is like powerful, quick. He's just an absolute athlete. Quality bloke as well.
I'm gonna have to get his highlight video up after this because
honestly, it's ridiculous. You could see it. He's got his YouTube, James Short. Some of those tries, unreal, ridiculous.
Love it. I love a good highlight. You see when you're bored, just a good highlight montage of a random obscure player.
Yeah, completely agree. I nearly went through mine the other day. So what am I doing?
Mate, I was doing it for research. I was on speaking of it, I didn't get a chance to discuss it in the pod because we were running for time and the stories were too good. I didn't want to break the train of thought. But speaking of that, the weird things you can find about athletes on the internet just by scrolling through links on Google.
Yeah.
And it was one of the things that came up about you. And it was like most notable outside rugby claim to fame. It was like A-level in drama. And I was like, as if he's actually put that for an interview.
Absolutely. Emmerdale, Coronation Street or EastEnders, listen to this. I fancy
I'm an EastEnders man. I love my EastEnders. I've not watched it in ages, but I love my EastEnders.
I will walk into that Queen Vic and order a pint. All right. I love a pint, please.
Mate, I almost believed I was there. You and Danny died. I'm going to make a campaign to get you on bloody EastEnders. This little 2-minute clip is getting put on every bit of social media. Matthew Jess on EastEnders. Jessy and the Queen Vic will make a hashtag or something.
Oh, mate, absolutely. I'm in.
Right. Who's got the worst sidestep you've ever seen?
Worst sidestep?
Yeah. Like you know when the prop gives it the old tag furlong, except it works.
Oh, Brett Sturgis.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, he tries it. He's like his head's going everywhere, but his body's not even moving.
He does that one where he moves his head, but his body just goes up and down.
Like this, and then you haven't moved anywhere. Brilliant.
All he's done is just dug himself a hole in the ground where his feet have moved.
His 21 got stuck in the mud.
Yeah, he's got those like 8-inch prop studs, and they're still under the ground.
Yeah.
Right, who's the biggest joker you've ever? Who's been the biggest prankster in the changing room?
Oh, biggest prankster, Kai Horseman.
Really?
Oh, ridiculous. Yeah, like just
any examples? Any ones that you can share?
Straight banter. Well, there's two actually. So there's two. There's Kai Horseman and Tom Johnson.
Right.
So Kai would be just general banter, but like it would be that bad banter. It would just be funny. So
I know. Yeah.
And then Johnson would be just pure just like little things, but it'd be like action. So like for example, there was Fishgate one time when Sturgis was walking. Brett Sturgis was walking through the. I think it must be on social media, wherever, at some stage. Anyway, he's walking through the changing room, and Tom Johnson's like sitting there by the door with this towel. This absolute trout of a fish is like this big. He's run up to him. Somebody's filming him, got it in slow-mo and everything, and he's just whacked him around the face with this fish. Absolutely ridiculous. And then we did spend a good time, right? So Kai would be getting, and I can't remember how many we got, right? Basically, after every training session, it was a running joke to basically go and, so when Kai would come out of the showers, he'd have his like old pair of pants, like it was training pants, like and he'd hook them on the peg. We'd go and hook them off, and like the ceilings which you can just lift up. We used to like store his training pants up here. And I'm not kidding you. We must have got to about 25 pairs. And he actually came into training one day and he's like, do you know what? I've got no pants left at home. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we're like, they're all up there. Like didn't realise. Like it went on for about a month and a half. It's mental. Like he was turning up to training commando every from about 3 weeks on, like trying to buy new pants. Brilliant.
I love that because I love those little pranks where they're not a big grand reveal, but like down the line it's like this real, like you get that sense of that was worth it. Yeah,
absolutely. And do you know what? It was like this corner we'd Stino, me, Tom Johnson, and we'd all take it in turns to go and nick this pair of pants. It'd be like this anxiety rush, like chuck it into
the other three are distracting him, just talking about something or other.
Can I just say, by the end of it, the ceiling was absolutely buzzing.
That horrible little mark that looked like there'd been a leak.
Like kind of your cats. Oh, brilliant.
Right. Who's the best dancer? Who's the one on the night out that's always cutting shapes?
Oh, best dancer? Ooh, I would go. I'd have to go someone like an Ollie Woodburn.
Really?
Yeah, I think he would be, because he's quite smooth. He's quite.
I was going to say like smooth operator.
Yeah, no, he is massively. Definitely an Ollie Woodburn. Definitely, yeah,
nice,
absolutely. Yeah.
And following on from that, who's the worst dancer?
Worst dancer? Oh, cool. Very good question. Worst dancer would be. It's got to be someone like Kai again, Kai Horseman, because he just dad dances.
I feel like those. What I've noticed is those two questions sort of go hand in hand.
Yeah,
like the biggest prankster and the worst dancer seem to go hand in hand.
Yeah, and it's like the two-step, he's kind of like two-step. And you're like, oh, come on, mate, give us something a bit better. Like, but yeah, no, it would be certainly him.
Mate, back to Manchester. You should have seen Josh Breen, because a bunch of drag queens came in the gay bar at about 1:30, and I've never seen Josh Breen look so scared for his life.
Really?
Brilliant. Because obviously Josh Breen's a good-looking lad.
Yeah.
And he looked like prime cut beef on a butcher's table. Like he was like that's how they were looking at him.
He got some attention, did he?
He did. He was the most popular man in there.
Oh, amazing! I hope he went for it as well. In terms of I hope he played up to the audience.
I was going to say, I hope he went for a second.
Well,
I went home, so if he did, we'll never know. But I doubt it. What happens in BlOKes stays at BlOKes.
Yeah, stays at BlOKes. That's it. Absolutely.
Right, worst dancer. Who's got the best tunes? Who's the one that picks up the aux cord or used to bring the mixtapes?
Oh, I am going to say. Oh, Yeah, I'm gonna have to say it. Sam Hill.
Really?
So he's a wannabe DJ. He's now at South Sharks, and I think he's doing exactly the same there. But the only thing with Sam is it used to distract him from his actual weight session, which obviously the S&C staff used to just absolutely go ape on him, because he'd be more worried about what song was on, what tune was on before he go change it over. But I mean, to be fair, he had some good tunes, and I think he's doing a bit of DJing now on Spotify. I think I will have to try and correct that, but no, very good, very good.
Sam, if you want to make an intro song for this, so I can stop using the generic one-off Epidemic sounds, that's grand.
There we go. There's one.
I'll let you promo as well. You can just say Sam Hill DJing in the middle.
Do you know what? I'll tap on my back there. I'll see what we can do for you.
Mate, I just enjoy helping other people out, so it's a bit of fun.
Yeah,
like, this is a shit house. The logo's off Fiverr, so we're doing all right. See, if you convince people it's worth its self-worth, then it's worth its self-worth.
Yeah,
it's like it's like scene in Kung Fu Panda, like, what's the special ingredient? He's like, nothing. I tell people it's special, so they believe it's special. Exactly. Act your self-worth, and that is your self-worth.
Absolutely.
Right. Future coach. Who's one of the players that you've ever coached or played with that you thought you're going to be a coach?
Oh, Phil Dorman.
Really?
Yeah. Just not only his rugby ability himself playing wise, but just his knowledge around the game. You know, I think he's at a lower league club at the moment. Sidmouth, I think it is, but he's just like I all thoughts myself. And I coached some university stuff with him, but he's just like knows the game inside out. Very good.
Loves his rugger.
Yeah, loves his rugger. Yeah, fair enough.
There we go. Who's hard as nails? Who's the person that you thought, if there's ever a fight going on, I want you to be stood next to me?
Oh, yeah. There's a couple you could choose on here, but Dave Ewers is. Yeah,
I can imagine.
Yeah, oh my word! Like the hands like shovels. But can I just say, one of the nicest guys in rugby. And like, if there was a scuffle, like it would have to be a scuffle for him to get involved. Or, you know, obviously just trying to back you up because he's that much of a nice guy. But if I need him on my side, he'd be on my right shoulder without a doubt.
I can imagine that. When I played, that's what I always look for. If I was ever going to start a fight, I made sure the hardest person in my team was stood next to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, getting to the last few. Who hogs the mirror most post game? Who's the one that if he knows he's got a wee TV interview is there getting the hair gel in, making sure it looks all right?
Oh, Knowlesy, without a doubt. Knowlesy, yeah. He's getting the hair gel out. He's getting his lotion on. He's making
the tattoos pop.
Making that tattoos look good. Yeah, no, definitely. Jack Noel is and for good reason. You know, he's a good looking bloke, and you know, he's talk about brand and getting his brand out there. You know, he's got to do it. But
the only guy kicking about in a Red Bull scrum cap. I think his brand's doing fine.
Yeah, exactly. So no, definitely Knowlesy.
No, if I looked like him, I'd be spending ages looking in the mirror. Same. Right, last one. Don't know how familiar you are with Nando's, but who's a teammate that would order the plain level spice?
Oh. Good. I tell you what, that is hell of a question. It's a toughie. I'm going to go. I used to play with him at Pirates. A guy called Kipper, Kevin James. Welsh.
Can't handle his spice.
Can't handle his spice. Not at all. No, he would definitely be. He'd be definitely on the plane without a doubt.
Nice. There you go. You have survived teammate questions or under the team bus, depending on which copyright law.
Under the team bus. I like under the team. Under the team bus.
Under the team bus. There you go. Yeah. It'll officially be under the team bus.
You need a voiceover thing as well. You need we are playing under the team bus.
Well, that's what we'll do. When I get the sponsors in and they get all their stuff done,
there we go.
They can go on soundboards. They can go on a backdrop, so I'm not showing my bed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'll do? I'm going to get, at the next BlOKes game, I'm going to get everybody to sign it, and I'm going to just get some sort of partition. I'm going to get the BlOKes signed up.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and then I'm just going to collect shirts. So I'm just going to ask everybody to send me shirts.
Yeah.
So you and Cal get me a Cornish Pirate shirt, and it will go up on the wall.
Absolutely. We'll do that straight away.
I'll fund it as well. I'll even pay for it. Yeah, I'll help the club out.
Come down for a night out. You'll be wearing one back on the train. It'd be great.
I don't think I'll make the train, mate.
Where are you going? I'm getting a train to Edinburgh.
Yeah. I need to go that way. All I know is I need to go that. Just pointing north and just going that way.
Yeah, I need to go up.
feel like I'm in a lift. Up, please. I've still got nightmares about that Hotel Ibis lift.
yeah, I was going to say, sausage rolls everywhere.
Exactly. Right, Matty Jess, final question, and it's the only question I gave you a chance to prepare. You've just had a massive team win. You've been given tunes. You've got 3 cheesy pop songs to get the team ready for a night out. What are you choosing?
Okay, so my 3 choices are Black Eyed Peas, I Got a Feeling.
I love that song.
Yeah, I Got a Feeling.
Yeah.
And then I've got one that's a bit out there, it's more so because I like it. Wayne Wonder, No Letting Go.
What a song. What a brilliant
song.
What a brilliant song.
Thank you very much. I'm glad I got that reception. And my last one, there was 2 I was trying to tee up for, but I'm going to go for this because every time this comes on in the car, I'm turning everything up.
Yeah.
Like if if my wheels are falling off, I ain't going to know until my car's dodgy steering because this song's going up, and it's Moving Too Fast with Ramina Johnson and Artful Dodger.
What a great song! That is an elite 3 there. That's up there.
I think that's not bad, is it?
No, I think you've smashed that because you've got some unique ones in there as well. You've not gone for some of the stereotypical ones that people pluck out. So I quite like that.
Yeah, gone a bit. Exactly. I wouldn't say. Yeah. No, I like them. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to probably listen to all 3 of them before I go to sleep tonight. I'm
going to add them to the playlist before I go to sleep tonight.
Yeah. Can you add them to the BlOKes FC playlist, please?
Absolutely.
Can I say that is so on the way up from Petersfield to the game, I was actually listening to the BlOKes playlist. Unreal.
I listened back to it and I didn't realise how I'd managed to merge pre-game and post-game so well in a pod. I was listening to it, I think it was Untouched by the Veronicas, but then it went into Jay-Z, Get That Dirt Off Your Shoulder. And I was like, what a contrast of emotions that I now have listening to these songs.
Absolutely.
Mate, I'll get them added to the BlOKes playlist straight away.
Please.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, that is officially the end of the podcast. I have overran, but that's because I was having so much fun that I kind of went fuck the 80-minute rule. There we go. Right. Before we leave, we're gonna let you guys know once again, this podcast is still brought to us by Wild Haggis Protein. These guys are incredible. Like I've said in the previous weeks, I contacted them to get in touch on this podcast because that's how much I believe in them. I've been using their stuff long before I even thought about doing this podcast. And to prove that I'm not doing here, I've got no notes. That's all his teammates' questions there, which you can't even see in the light. This is how much I believe in them. I like them as a company. I think they're great. You can get protein, fat burners, BCAAs. They also have their own fitness range, including exclusive women's leggings, which are top quality. And there's some mental designs on them. And I believe they're making them in men's as well. If they told me something right, might not even be allowed to say that. So it might be an exclusive. If that's the case, Callum, sorry, but it's how we do it. It's good. Guys, like, share, follow, subscribe, watch, listen, tell your friends, tell your dog, tell your mum, make her sit down and watch it. That helps me more than anything. Leave a like rating on the podcast. Matt Jess, where can they find you on social media?
So social media is just at Matthew Jess on Instagram, at MatthewJess14 on Twitter, MSJ Coaching on Instagram and Twitter.
Exactly. MSJ Coaching. That's us. Once again, I look forward to seeing you all next week. Go Pirates, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you very much. Bye.